When you're scrolling through a sea of 85-inch TVs, the pictures on the listings can feel almost too good to be true. I've been there clicking add to cart only to end up with a screen that looks flat, colors that seem washed out, or a smart platform that feels more like a maze than a shortcut to the shows you actually watch. It's the kind of disappointment that makes you wonder if the hype is just clever marketing. That's why I'm doing this deep dive before you click buy, so you can avoid the nightmare of a giant box that ends up collecting dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about what makes a TV like the 2026 Roku 85-inch Select Series different from the usual big screen hype. It's not just the size, it's the combination of QLED panel technology, Roku's own operating system, a voice-enabled remote, and a Bluetooth headphone mode that promises a private listening experience. Those are the claims you'll see in the headline, but the real test is how they play out in an everyday living room. I set up the TV in a typical family room, about 12 feet from the main seating area, with a mix of natural light during the day and a few LED floor lamps for evenings. The first thing I noticed was the Home Sweet Home screen that Roku rolls out. Unlike many smart TV interfaces that shove a clutter of apps onto the main view, Roku's home screen is essentially a launchpad that remembers what you watch most. Your favorite streaming services sit front and center, while the less used apps stay tucked away. For someone who spends most evenings binge-watching a couple of shows, that reduces the time spent hunting for the right icon. Picture quality is where the QLED panel really steps in. The 4K resolution alone is impressive, but the real magic is the quantum dot layer that boosts color volume. When I played a nature documentary with a vibrant rainforest scene, the greens were punchy without looking artificial, and the blacks stayed deep even in a dark room. Sports night was equally satisfying. The fast-moving action stayed crisp, and there was minimal motion blur, which is a common gripe with larger panels that sometimes lag on rapid sequences. If you love movie nights with HDR content, the TV handles the peak brightness well enough to make highlights pop without washing out the surrounding tones. Now, the Roku TV platform is often praised for being simple, but there are nuances worth mentioning. The voice remote works straight out of the box. You can say, "Play Stranger Things," and the TV pulls it up on the appropriate service. That hands-free convenience is a real time saver, especially when you're juggling snacks and a remoteless couch. However, the voice recognition isn't perfect. It can misinterpret similar-sounding titles or get tripped up by background noise. In a house with a TV on, a dog barking, and a conversation happening nearby, you might need to repeat yourself a couple of times. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to keep in mind if you plan to rely heavily on voice commands. One feature that stands out for households with kids or late-night viewers is the Bluetooth headphone mode. Pair a pair of wireless earbuds or headphones, and you instantly have a private listening experience without the need for a separate soundbar. In practice, the latency was low enough that dialogue synced well with the picture, which is crucial for movies. The downside? The TV's Bluetooth range is roughly the same as most consumer devices, about 10 feet. If you're moving around a larger open-plan space, you might notice a drop in volume or occasional dropouts, especially if there are walls or large metal objects between the TV and the headphones. Let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. An 85-inch screen is a statement piece, and the physical size means you need a sturdy mounting solution. The TV comes with a standard Visa pattern, but the weight is on the heavier side. I had to reinforce my wall studs and use a specialized mount rated for over 150 pounds. If you're renting or not comfortable with a bit of DIY, that could add unexpected cost and effort. Also, because the TV is a QLED model, it uses a backlight rather than OLED's pixel-level illumination. In very dark rooms, you might notice a slight bloom around bright objects, a subtle halo that some viewers find distracting. It's not a major flaw, but for true darkroom cinema enthusiasts, it's worth noting. Who should consider this TV? If you have a spacious living room or a home theater setup where the sheer size adds to the immersive experience, the Roku 85-inch QLED ticks a lot of boxes. It's especially appealing if you already love Roku's ecosystem, whether you've got a Roku streaming stick, a Roku phone app, or you're already paying for multiple Roku channels. The voice remote and headphone mode make it friendly for families with kids, late-night movie marathons, or anyone who wants a quick, hands-free way to jump into content. Sports fans will appreciate